I'm J. Lenora Bressler, and welcome to the November 12th, 2017 edition of the Bible, Delight in the Details. We are in an ongoing series looking at the 5 offerings that are in the first 5 chapters of Leviticus. And as we've said several times now, each of these gives a precursor or a harbinger of the work of Jesus Christ. We looked at the burnt offering, which most closely aligns with Jesus himself, followed by the grain offering of gratitude, and then last time we were looking at the fellowship offering, which literally was burned on top of or on the remains of the burnt offering, because you cannot be in fellowship with God or with God's people in a right relationship unless it is founded on an acceptance of and gratitude for the sacrifice of Jesus Christ, or the burnt offering. Today, we're going to begin looking at chapter 4 of Leviticus, the 4th of the 5 offerings that were offered at the tabernacle and later at the temple. This one is called the sin offering. And of course, it leads to a question of what exactly is sin. If you are a regular listener to this program, you know what the answer to that is, and it's not what most people think. Most people think that sin is always deliberate, in your face. Take that, God. I know what's right, I know what's wrong, and I'm going to do my own bloody thing and forget you. But sin is not just that. That is open rebellion. That is intent. And absolutely that is sin. But sin is much more broad-based. As we have said before, sin is actually an archery term. And it simply means to miss the mark. To miss the bullseye, you might say. Many people, just like many archers, are trying to hit the bullseye. There are people who are trying to live holy and spiritual lives. And yet, even so, even those that are trying the hardest sometimes miss the mark. The sin offering reminds us that sin is more than just intentional, willful rebellion against God. It is any time when we do not meet the highest standard of God. And the sin offering talks just totally about unintentional sins. We are told that any time a person or a person in leadership on behalf of a larger group, whenever they realize that something that they have done was an unintentional sin or an unintentional missing of the mark, they need to be forgiven for that. That is because it is not just about rebellion. You see, God is so holy. He is so perfect. He is so beyond us that it doesn't matter whether we meant to do it or not. If we are sinful, if we have committed sin, regardless of what we might argue about is the amount of blame that we should have attached to us for that, we are still sinful. It's like, if, for example, a bride in her beautiful white dress, ready to walk down the aisle, somebody goes by her and accidentally trips and spills a drink of some sort on that beautiful dress. That is still marred. That dress is still marred. It is no longer perfect. Whether somebody meant to do it, they deliberately didn't like the bride and threw something on her, or they accidentally tripped and put something on the dress. It is still marred. And we cannot, or God cannot be in the presence of sin, whether we mean to it be that way or not. And so we have to have a real understanding of what sin is, and that God himself has to help us because we cannot help ourselves. If you don't even know that you're doing something wrong or doing something against the will of God or something that is less than holy, how are you going to, number one, prevent yourself from doing it? And number two, once you realize it, what are you going to do about it? So God has provided atonement, covering, a sacrifice. And in the tangible form, it came in the form of the sin offering. Tomorrow we are going to look a little more deeply at this because it's fascinating. Unlike other offerings, this one, what you do and what you offer depends upon your status as a leader or as an individual. My friends, when we sin, we bring consequences upon not just ourselves, but those people whom God has given us to be a leader of. So we need to feel that responsibility keenly and be sure we live up to it. I'm J. Lenora Bressler. Visit me tomorrow on the next edition of the Bible, Delight in the Details. Have a great day.